In the Grand Hall of the Valdari Empire, alien leaders gathered to celebrate their latest victories. The hall was massive, filled with bright lights and colorful banners. At the center, a tall figure named Chancellor Kalen stood proudly. He was a Valdari, known for his sharp mind and powerful voice. His species had ruled the galaxy for thousands of years, and they believed they were the best. "Today we honor our soldiers," Kalen declared, his voice echoing through the hall. "We have conquered the Kyrex system and proven our strength. The galaxy knows we are elite." The crowd erupted in cheers. Alien leaders from different races joined in, each boasting about their own victories. The Zarnoks, with their long tentacles, danced excitedly. The Glyphs, known for their brilliant minds, shared tales of their latest inventions. Everyone seemed to forget about the dangers that lurked beyond their empire. As the celebration continued, a young scout named Jarek rushed into the hall. He was out of breath, his eyes wide with worry. "Chancellor Kalen, I have urgent news." Kalen frowned, annoyed by the interruption. "What is it, Jarek?" "Can't you see we are celebrating? Sir, we've detected a new species, humans. They are starting to explore space," Jarek said, his voice trembling. "Their ships are primitive, but they are getting closer to our territory." The room fell silent. The laughter and chatter stopped as everyone turned to Jarek. Kalen raised an eyebrow, trying to contain his amusement. "Humans? What a ridiculous name. They sound weak and unimportant. We have nothing to fear from them." The other leaders laughed, their confidence growing. "Yes, let them come," one of the Zarnok leaders shouted. "We will crush them easily." Jarek looked around the room, sensing the growing arrogance. "But sir, their technology—" "Enough," Kalen interrupted, waving his hand dismissively. "We will send a fleet to greet these humans. Show them our might! We cannot let them think they are a threat to us." As the meeting ended, Jarek felt uneasy. He knew humans were different. He had heard stories from other scouts about their strange ways and fierce determination, but no one seemed to take him seriously. Days later, the Valdari fleet set out to meet the humans. The ships, powerful and sleek, glided through space like predators. Kalen stood at the front of his flagship, a confident smile on his face. He believed this would be an easy victory, just another tale to tell during their celebrations. Meanwhile, the humans were busy preparing for their first contact with the Valdari. Aboard the human ship Endeavor, Captain Sarah Lewis briefed her crew. "We've detected Valdari ships approaching. They are the strongest race in the galaxy, but we must remain calm. We don't know their intentions yet." Her crew, a mix of brave men and women, nodded. They were scared, but determined. They had spent years preparing for this moment. They believed in their ability to communicate and connect with other species, even if the odds were against them. As the Valdari ships arrived, they filled the view screens of the Endeavor. Kalen's flagship loomed large, showcasing its intimidating size and advanced technology. The crew could feel the tension in the air. "Prepare for communication," Captain Lewis ordered. She hoped that the Valdari would listen, that they would understand that humans were not to be underestimated. On the Valdari ship, Kalen sneered at the sight of the human vessel. "Look at that small ship. They think they can challenge us? This will be easy." With a flick of his wrist, he activated the communication system. "This is Chancellor Kalen of the Valdari Empire. State your intentions, humans!" Captain Lewis took a deep breath, ready to respond. She knew this moment could change everything. As the tension between the two races grew, neither side realized how this encounter would forever alter the balance of power in the galaxy. As the Endeavor floated in space, Captain Sarah Lewis felt a mix of fear and determination. The Valdari ships surrounded her vessel, casting long shadows in the cold light of the stars. She looked at her crew, who were tense but focused, ready to face the unknown. Chancellor Kalen's voice boomed through the communication channel. "This is Chancellor Kalen of the Valdari Empire. State your intentions, humans." Captain Lewis straightened her back and replied, "I am Captain Sarah Lewis of the United Earth Alliance. We come in peace and wish to learn from your people." Kalen laughed, a harsh, mocking sound. "Peace? You dare to speak of peace? Your ship is nothing compared to our fleet. Prepare to be boarded." Before Sarah could respond, the Valdari ships moved in closer. They were sleek and powerful, with weapon systems glimmering ominously. The crew of the Endeavor exchanged worried glances. They had trained for many scenarios, but this was their first encounter with an elite race like the Valdari. "Captain, they are activating their weapons!" shouted Lieutenant Mark, a young officer with wide eyes. "We should retreat!" "No, we stand our ground," Sarah replied, her voice steady. "We have to show them that we are not afraid." With that, the Valdari ships fired warning shots across the Endeavor's bow. The blasts shook the human ship, sending vibrations through its hull. Alarms blared, and the crew scrambled to their stations. "Shields up! Brace for impact!" Sarah ordered, her heart racing. The crew moved quickly, following her commands. They activated the shields just in time as another blast hit the ship. The Endeavor shuddered but held firm. On the Valdari flagship, Kalen watched with a smug smile. They have good shields for such a small ship, but it will not save them. He ordered his fleet to prepare for boarding. The Valdari believed this would be an easy victory, a simple show of force to scare the humans. They underestimated the humans' resolve and creativity. Meanwhile, Sarah rallied her crew. "We need to show them that we won't back down. Prepare the energy disruptors. If they board us, we'll give them a fight they won't forget." The crew, inspired by Sarah's bravery, worked with renewed energy. They modified their disruptors, which could temporarily disable the Valdari's advanced systems. It was a risky plan, but they had no other choice. Suddenly, the Valdari ships activated their boarding pods. Metal tubes shot from the Valdari ships, aiming straight for the Endeavor. The crew braced for impact, knowing that soon the Valdari would storm their ship. With a loud clang, the first pod hit the Endeavor, and the airlock opened. Valdari soldiers poured in, armed with powerful energy weapons and advanced armor. They moved quickly, their eyes scanning for resistance. Sarah stood at the entrance, her heart pounding. "On my mark," she whispered to her crew, who were hidden behind barriers, ready to fight. As the Valdari soldiers entered, Sarah shouted, "Now!" The crew fired the energy disruptors, and bolts of energy shot across the room, hitting the Valdari soldiers. Many of them faltered, their weapons malfunctioning. The humans took advantage of the confusion, pushing forward to fight back. The Valdari, shocked by the humans' fierce resistance, struggled to regain control. They had expected an easy victory, but the humans fought with a passion they had never seen before. The battle raged on, with blaster fire lighting up the dark corridors of the Endeavor. Kalen watched in disbelief from his flagship. How can they resist us? They are just humans. He realized that their overconfidence had blinded them to the truth. These humans were not weak. They were brave and resourceful. As the fight continued, both sides suffered losses, but the humans stood their ground. They were fighting for their survival, proving that even against the elite Valdari, they would not be easily defeated. In that moment, the humans changed the story of their encounter. No longer were they just explorers, they were warriors, ready to fight for their place in the galaxy. As the battle unfolded, both sides would learn valuable lessons about strength, courage, and the unexpected power of unity. After the shocking first encounter, the news of the battle spread quickly throughout the galaxy. The Valdari Empire, once seen as the strongest race, was now shaken. Whispers of the humans' bravery echoed in every corner of the universe. The Valdari leaders, who had laughed at the humans, were now worried. In the Valdari capital, Chancellor Kalen paced nervously in his grand office. The walls were adorned with trophies from past victories, each a reminder of their power. But now a new fear gripped him. "How could we lose to such a weak species?" he muttered to himself. His advisors gathered around him, their faces tense. "Chancellor, we must act quickly," one of them urged. "The humans are gaining support from other races. If we don't crush them now, they may become a serious threat." Kalen nodded, his mind racing. "We will send another fleet, but this time we must show no mercy. We must remind everyone who the true rulers of the galaxy are." He slammed his fist on the table, determination flooding his veins. Meanwhile, aboard the Endeavor, Captain Sarah Lewis and her crew were dealing with the aftermath of their first battle. They had managed to fend off the Valdari boarding party, but the victory came at a cost. Many crew members were injured, and the ship needed repairs. In the crew's quarters, Sarah addressed her team. "I know we've been through a lot, but we did something amazing. We stood up to the Valdari and showed them we are not afraid. But we must prepare for what's coming next." The crew nodded, their spirits lifted by her words. They knew the Valdari would not back down easily. "We need to strengthen our defenses and find more allies," Sarah continued. "If we can unite with other species, we might have a chance against the Valdari." Lieutenant Mark raised his hand. "I've been talking to some traders from the nearby planets. They are willing to help us. They fear the Valdari just like we do." Sarah smiled. That's great news! Let's reach out to them. If we can form an alliance, we'll be stronger together. As they worked on their plans, tension grew in the galaxy. News of the humans' resistance reached other alien races, stirring curiosity and fear. Some admired the humans for their bravery, while others saw them as a danger. The Valdari Empire, once respected, now faced growing resentment from those they had oppressed. On a distant planet, the Kyrex people gathered for an emergency council. Their leader, a wise elder named Kieran, spoke to the crowd. The Valdari have ruled over us for too long. They have shown their cruelty. Now we have a chance to stand with the humans and fight back. The Kyrex people cheered, their spirits ignited by Kieran's words. They knew the Valdari would retaliate, but they were ready to join the humans in their fight. Across the galaxy, other races began to take notice. They whispered about the humans and their courage. Back on the Endeavor, Sarah received messages from several planets expressing support. "We have new allies," she announced to her crew. "The Kyrex and other races want to join us in our fight against the Valdari." Mark's eyes widened. This could change everything. Together we can make a real stand. "But we must be careful," Sarah cautioned. "The Valdari will not take this lightly. They will come for us with full force. We need to prepare our defenses and train our new allies." As they trained, the Valdari fleet prepared for their next move. Kalen was determined to crush the humans and their newfound allies. He gathered his generals and laid out his plans. "We will strike hard and fast," Kalen said, his voice filled with anger. "We cannot let this alliance grow stronger. We will show the galaxy that the Valdari are not to be trifled with." Tension filled the air as both sides prepared for the coming battle. The humans and their allies were determined to stand together, while the Valdari plotted their revenge. The stage was set for a showdown that would change the galaxy forever. In the heart of space, two forces prepared to collide. The humans, once seen as weak, were rising to challenge the elite, and the Valdari, confident in their power, would soon learn that underestimating their enemies could lead to their downfall. As the tension in the galaxy reached its peak, both sides prepared for the inevitable clash. On the Endeavor, Captain Sarah Lewis felt a mix of anxiety and determination. She gathered her crew to discuss their plan for the upcoming battle against the Valdari. "Today we stand not just for ourselves, but for all who wish to be free from the Valdari's grip," Sarah said, her voice strong. The crew, now a mix of humans and their new allies from the Kyrex and other races, listened closely. "We have trained hard and we are ready to fight together, but we must stick to the plan and remain united." Lieutenant Mark stepped forward, his face serious. "We need to take out their flagship first. If we can disable it, we can break their command and disrupt their entire fleet." Sarah nodded. "Agreed. We'll use our energy disruptors to target their systems, but we need to be quick. The Valdari will not expect a coordinated attack from us and our allies." As the Endeavor prepared for battle, the Valdari fleet moved into position, led by Chancellor Kalen. He stood on the bridge of his flagship, his eyes scanning the stars. "Today we end this nonsense," he declared to his officers. "The humans and their allies will learn that they are no match for the Valdari Empire." The two forces finally faced each other in the vastness of space. The darkness was pierced by the lights of their ships, a stark contrast to the stillness of the stars. Sarah took a deep breath, her heart racing. "All ships, prepare for battle." With a commanding voice, she ordered, "Engage!" The Endeavor surged forward, flanked by its allies. Energy beams erupted from their ships, striking the Valdari fleet. The initial blasts were chaotic, but the humans and their allies quickly found their rhythm. They fought together, covering each other's weaknesses. Kalen watched in disbelief as the humans fought with unexpected skill. "They are organized!" he shouted, frustration boiling within him. "Send reinforcements to the front lines. We cannot let them gain the upper hand." As the battle raged on, Sarah's strategy began to pay off. They had disabled several Valdari ships, and their teamwork was stronger than anyone had anticipated. The Kyrex warriors fought valiantly alongside the humans, proving that unity was their greatest strength. "Target the flagship!" Sarah shouted over the sounds of battle. "We have to take it down!" The crew moved quickly, working together as one. Mark aimed the disruptors, focusing on the flagship's weak points. "I've got a lock!" he yelled. "Firing now!" The energy beam shot forward, striking the Valdari flagship with tremendous force. The impact caused a massive explosion, sending shockwaves through space. Kalen stumbled, gripping the console to regain his balance. The damage was severe. The ship's systems faltered, and chaos erupted on the bridge.
Retreat!
"We must regroup!" Kalen shouted, but it was too late. The crew scrambled to respond, and panic spread as their flagship lost power. As the flagship struggled, Sarah felt a rush of hope. "We can do this! Keep pushing forward!" she urged her crew. Their spirits soared, and they pushed harder against the Valdari forces. However, the Valdari were not finished yet. They unleashed their secret weapon, a fleet of battlecruisers hidden behind asteroids. These ships surged into the fray, launching a barrage of fire toward the Endeavor and its allies. "Captain, we're being flanked!" Mark warned. The crew quickly adjusted their tactics, but the situation was becoming dire. "Hold your ground! We've come too far to give up now!" Sarah shouted. She knew that the turning point was near. If they could withstand this onslaught, they would change the tide of the battle forever. The Kyrex warriors fought fiercely, using their agility to evade the Valdari fire. Their bravery inspired the humans, who rallied around Sarah's command. The battle became a whirlwind of energy beams, explosions, and fierce determination. Just when it seemed like the humans and their allies might be overwhelmed, a surprise ally appeared. A fleet of ships from a neutral planet, witnessing the struggle, joined the fight against the Valdari. Their numbers tipped the balance. "Look! Reinforcements!" Mark shouted, his eyes wide with surprise. The Valdari, now outnumbered and facing a united front, began to falter. Kalen realized too late that their arrogance had led to their downfall. As the tide turned, the Valdari forces started to retreat, their confidence shattered. The battle raged on, but the humans and their allies pressed forward, united in their cause. This was not just a fight for survival. It was a fight for freedom and dignity. As the Endeavor soared through the chaos, Sarah felt a surge of pride. They had turned the tide against the Valdari. The battle for the galaxy had begun, and the humans would no longer be underestimated. The battle for the galaxy had reached its climax, but now a new dawn was breaking. The Endeavor and its allies stood victorious after defeating the Valdari Empire. Captain Sarah Lewis gazed out at the stars from the bridge of her ship. She could hardly believe what they had achieved. "We did it!" Mark exclaimed, a wide smile on his face. "We actually won!" Sarah turned to her crew, who were celebrating their hard-fought victory. "This is just the beginning," she said, her voice steady. "We need to rebuild and make sure that the Valdari never threaten us again." The crew nodded, their expressions a mix of joy and determination. They had faced the impossible and emerged stronger together. As the cheers echoed through the ship, Sarah felt a sense of hope. They had proven that unity could overcome even the strongest foes. Meanwhile, news of the humans' victory spread rapidly across the galaxy. The Valdari Empire, once feared and respected, had been defeated by a coalition of humans and their newfound allies. This shook the foundations of power in the galaxy. Other races began to question the Valdari's dominance and consider their own place in the universe. On the planet Kyrex, celebrations erupted. Kiran, the leader of the Kyrex people, stood before his people, pride swelling in his chest. "Today we stand together as free beings," he proclaimed. "We have shown the galaxy that we can rise against oppression. Together we will shape a new future." The Kyrex people cheered, their spirits lifted. They knew that their alliance with the humans had changed everything. Together, they could forge a new path, one that valued freedom and equality. As Sarah and her crew worked to repair the Endeavor, they received messages from other planets seeking to join their new alliance. Species that had once been enemies now reached out to offer their support. The galaxy was transforming, and it was thrilling. "Captain, we have several planets expressing interest in joining us," Mark announced, excitement in his voice. "They want to form a coalition against the Valdari and any future threats." Sarah smiled, feeling a surge of determination. "Let's invite them to discuss how we can work together. We need to build a galaxy where everyone feels safe." Days turned into weeks as the coalition meetings commenced. Representatives from various planets gathered on the Endeavor to discuss their vision for the future. Each species brought their strengths, their ideas, and their dreams of a better galaxy. During one of the meetings, a wise elder from a neighboring planet stood up. "We must ensure that our new alliance is built on trust and respect. We cannot repeat the mistakes of the past." The room buzzed with agreement. Sarah recognized the importance of unity. "We need to create a council that represents all of us," she suggested. "A council where every voice is heard and decisions are made together." The representatives nodded, and a sense of purpose filled the air. They would create a new government that would value each member, ensuring that no one race would dominate again. This was a turning point for the galaxy. As the coalition took shape, Sarah felt a sense of pride for what they were building. The humans had gone from being underestimated to becoming key players in the galaxy's future. She knew that this new alliance would face challenges, but they were ready. In the following months, the coalition worked hard to establish peace. They shared technology, resources, and knowledge, forming strong bonds. The Valdari, stripped of their power, retreated to their corners of the galaxy, realizing their days of control were over. One day, as Sarah stood on the bridge of the Endeavor, she looked out at the stars once more. "We have come so far," she said to Mark, who stood beside her. "But there's still so much to do." Mark nodded, his eyes shining with determination. "We will make sure that the galaxy knows what we stand for. Freedom, unity, and peace." As the Endeavor soared through the stars, Sarah felt a new sense of purpose. They were no longer just survivors, they were leaders. Together they would create a new galaxy where all beings could thrive, a galaxy united in diversity and strength. And as the ship traveled toward new worlds, Sarah knew that their journey was far from over. This was just the beginning of an exciting new chapter for the galaxy. Together, they would face whatever challenges lay ahead, united as one. The galaxy was changing, and the humans were no longer seen as the underdogs. They had carved their place in the stars, and now they would help others do the same. The future was bright, and they were ready to embrace it.